Alaska, a land of breathtaking landscapes, extreme weather, and an ancient custom that might shock you. Imagine stepping into a culture where hospitality goes beyond offering a warm meal or a place to sleep. A place where the sharing of wives was once believed to be a sign of generosity, trust, and survival. But is this fact or fiction? Could there really be a place where such traditions existed? In today's video, we'll uncover the real story behind this long-standing myth, explore the origins of these customs, and separate truth from fiction. We'll also take a deep dive into the unique culture, survival strategies, and history of Alaska's indigenous people. Stay tuned, because you're about to learn something that most people have never heard before. Where did this idea come from? For centuries, there have been rumors that certain native Alaskan communities openly shared their wives with visitors. Some explorers claimed they were invited into homes and offered a host's wife as a form of hospitality. But is this true? To understand the origins of this idea, we need to look at the historical accounts written by early explorers and missionaries. Many of them came from vastly different cultures and misunderstood what they saw. They often exaggerated or misinterpreted native customs, creating myths that have persisted for generations. What's important to understand is that indigenous communities had unique social structures that were built around survival. In a world where the Arctic cold was a daily battle, sharing, whether food, resources, or even companionship, was an essential part of life. However, the way this has been portrayed in modern times is often misleading. Explorers' accounts and cultural misunderstandings. During the 18th and 19th centuries, European and American explorers traveled to Alaska in search of trade opportunities, new territories, and knowledge about the region. Some of the first outsiders to document life in Alaska were fur traders and whalers, followed by missionaries attempting to spread Christianity. Many of these early visitors observed cultural practices that seemed completely foreign to them. Some wrote about wife sharing among the Inuit and other indigenous groups. But were these claims accurate? In reality, many of these accounts were either misinterpreted or exaggerated. Some communities did practice forms of temporary partner exchange, but not in the way most people imagine. Instead of being a free-for-all, these arrangements were often linked to social bonding, alliance building, and survival strategies. For example, in some cases, men might temporarily exchange partners to strengthen family ties between groups, ensuring that alliances remained strong. Some traditions involved a guest staying in the home of a host family, where he would be treated as part of the family. In some cases, this could include temporary relationships with a host's wife, but only with consent and cultural context. The concept of wife sharing was not about random exchanges but about creating trust and cooperation between small, isolated communities. The problem was that many outsiders who witnessed these customs didn't fully understand them. Instead, they recorded stories based on their own cultural biases, spreading the idea that Alaskan men gave away their wives as part of hospitality, when the truth was much more complex. Why these customs developed? To understand why these traditions may have existed, we need to put ourselves in the shoes of the people who lived in one of the most extreme environments on Earth. Life in the Arctic was unforgiving. The freezing temperatures, long winters, and limited resources meant that survival depended on cooperation and mutual support. Unlike modern societies where people can live independently, Arctic communities needed strong social bonds to thrive. Here's what survival looked like. Extreme weather. The Arctic winter lasts for months with little to no sunlight. Food scarcity was a major concern, and communities had to rely on each other. Hunting and gathering. Large animals like seals and whales were difficult to hunt, requiring teamwork and alliances between groups. Small populations. Due to the harsh conditions, many villages had small populations, which made genetic diversity a challenge. Some experts believe that certain marriage customs helped prevent inbreeding and ensured strong family bonds between distant groups. It wasn't about promiscuity, it was about survival. Strengthening community ties ensured that if disaster struck one family, another would be there to help. Does this still happen today? Fast forward to today, what's the reality in modern Alaska? Are there still communities that practice this tradition? The short answer is no. While early accounts may have documented forms of partner sharing, these practices have largely disappeared. Alaska is now a modern, diverse state where indigenous cultures have adapted to new ways of life. However, myths about Alaskan wife sharing continue to spread, especially through pop culture and the internet. Some travel bloggers and social media posts still reference these old stories, even though there's little evidence that they continue today. That being said, Alaska's indigenous cultures still have many fascinating traditions that have stood the test of time, such as storytelling. Native Alaskan communities pass down knowledge through oral traditions rather than written records. Spiritual beliefs. Many indigenous groups believe in a deep connection between humans and nature, respecting the land and animals they depend on for survival. Hunting techniques. Even today, traditional hunting and fishing methods are used to gather food in remote areas. So while the idea of wife sharing in Alaska is mostly a myth, the real history and culture of the region are just as intriguing. Alaska, a land of beauty, mystery, and survival. Alaska remains one of the most unique places on Earth. Its vast wilderness, rugged landscapes, and extreme weather conditions make it a land of adventure and mystery. Whether you're drawn to its stunning northern lights, its rich indigenous history, or its incredible wildlife, Alaska continues to captivate people from all over the world. The reality of Alaska's past is more complex than the myths suggest. What early explorers misunderstood as wife sharing was, in many cases, a misinterpretation of cultural traditions that prioritize survival and community over individual ownership. Did this video change the way you think about Alaska? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. If you enjoyed this deep dive into history and culture, make sure to give this video a thumbs up and share it with your friends. And don't forget to subscribe to the channel for more fascinating stories from around the world. Hit the bell icon so you never miss an update. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.